Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, At Home with Willowberry. Or if you're new, welcome. But where have you been? I'm so happy to see you here. My name is Valerie, and in today's video, how about joining me for an afternoon in the kitchen while I prepare dinner and dessert for my family? I'm making chicken Parmesan with homemade marinara sauce for dinner and glazed apple fritters for dessert in my old 1975 double-wide mobile home. So if you're interested, I hope you'll stick around and enjoy the video. I think by now that most of you know I'm not much of a meal planner. I've tried a few times, but I've never been very successful at it. At the most, I'm able to plan out about 2, maybe 3 days of meals at a time, if I'm lucky, but never a full week. Whenever I've tried to meal plan, something would always throw off the schedule, or I wasn't in the mood to cook what was on the menu for that day, or I would forget to buy something that I needed to complete a meal. I just find it easier to keep the freezer stocked with frozen meat, and we just decide what to pull out for dinner the night before and put it in the refrigerator to defrost. Of course, there's days where we forget to even pull something out to defrost, just like in today's video. We completely forgot to pull some meat out of the freezer last night, so Tim had to make a trip to the grocery store. We knew we wanted chicken for dinner, but I just didn't know what dish to cook, so I spent a few minutes Googling recipes, and I found one for chicken Parmesan with a homemade marinara sauce. But I needed a few more ingredients in order to complete the meal, so I made a list and sent Tim off to the grocery store. He should be back soon with the groceries, but in the meantime, I decided to go ahead and get started making the dessert. I have some apples that I need to use up, so I went looking for an apple recipe, and I found one for fried apple fritters that I can't wait to make. So while I'm waiting for Tim to get back with the rest of the groceries, I'm going to go ahead and gather up all the ingredients for the apple fritters and then start prepping the apples. Tim's made it back home, y'all, and there's no telling what he picked up at the grocery store. I guarantee you he picked up some kind of sugary treat, probably donuts or something like that. Tim, my boys, and Granny all have a sweet tooth. I didn't tell him I was making glazed apple fritters for dessert, so now we'll be extra sugared up. But that's all right. It's not every day that I make dessert, and we can just save the donuts for breakfast in the morning. I asked him to pick up some fresh basil for dinner tonight, and would you believe he brought home a whole basil plant and a mint plant? The mint smells amazing. I'll have to find a place to plant them out in my garden patch. Let's see. He also bought me a new tripod. My old one got broke while we were filming outside in the garden, so I really needed a new one. He bought eggs, honey, butter, lemons, and French vanilla creamer, which were items we were just running low on. And finally, I'll show y'all the ingredients that he picked up for me to make chicken Parmesan tonight. I needed crushed tomatoes, spaghetti noodles, grated Parmesan cheese, and mozzarella cheese. And I needed a cheese grater to shred the cheese up with. I also needed garlic and onions and panko breadcrumbs. And now I'll be able to follow the recipe for chicken Parmesan with a homemade marinara sauce for dinner tonight. Alright, y'all, the groceries are all put away, so now I can get back to making the fried apple fritters. Fritters are made like donuts with a milk, flour, and egg batter. The donut-like fritters could be deep fried or pan fried, and they taste great when served with a simple dusting of powdered sugar or covered in a sugary glaze, which is how I plan on making them today. After I finish chopping the apples into tiny little chunks, then I'll be ready to start making the batter for the fritters. following the Pioneer Woman's recipe for these apple fritters, and I'll make sure to link the recipe down in the description box. Now that the apples are all chopped up and ready to go, I'm ready to make the batter. I'll be combining the flour, sugar, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt in one bowl, and then I'll mix the wet ingredients in another bowl. Once the wet and dry ingredients are all combined together, I'll then fold in the apple chunks without overmixing the batter. Once the batter is all mixed up, then I'll be ready to start frying up these fritters. Alright y'all, now it's time to fry up these sweet little apple fritters. I'm using vegetable oil to fry them in. The Pioneer woman used these fancy little scoops and ended up with perfect little balls, but I'm just going to be using a tablespoon to drop the fritters into the hot oil. I tell you what, these apple fritters sure do look and smell amazing, and I can't wait to taste them. The only thing that can make them taste any better than they look will be a sweet glaze to smother them in. So that's what I'm going to make now. The glaze is so easy to make. You just whisk together some powdered sugar, salt, vanilla, and milk until it's all creamy. I plan to glaze the fritters as soon as they come out of the hot oil because they are best served warm. I'm just having to make them in advance because we have a band concert we'll have to rush off to as soon as we finish dinner tonight. Well, if you're ready, let's just finish making these delicious apple fritters. The dessert is ready, but I still need to make the main dish. We're having chicken Parmesan with spaghetti with a homemade marinara sauce. I want to get the sauce started as soon as possible to give the flavors enough time to meld together. To make the sauce, I will saute garlic and onion in some olive oil until the onions are translucent. I then will add 2 cans of crushed tomatoes to the pot with the garlic and onions. And to season the sauce, I'll be using salt, pepper, and fresh basil. And y'all, I almost forgot the basil. I had to go back and add it later, but I get it in there, and the sauce still turns out very good. Okay, the sauce is sauteing away and it smells amazing. So now I'm ready to get started on the chicken. I'm using skinless, boneless chicken breast. The breast still had the tenderloin attached, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off and save it for another meal. Then I will be cutting the breast in half to make chicken cutlets. I can't believe I almost forgot to add the basil to my sauce. But I'm adding it now, and the sauce is still going to simmer for about an hour, so it's got plenty of time to flavor the sauce, so I'm not worried about it. I'm going to season the chicken breast with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and then I need to shred the mozzarella cheese to make the cheese mixture, so that it will be ready once I finish sauteing the chicken breast. After I dip the chicken breasts in flour, and then into beaten eggs, and finally coating them with panko breadcrumbs seasoned with grated Parmesan cheese, I'll then saute them in olive oil until they are golden brown on both sides. When they are almost finished cooking, I'll top the chicken with marinara sauce and sprinkle with mozzarella and Parmesan cheese mixed together. They will then bake in the oven until they finish cooking through and the cheese is melted. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get this dinner started. I've made chicken Parmesan several times. In fact, it's one of my favorite ways to make chicken, but I've never made it with spaghetti and sauce before. I usually saute the chicken and then make a couple of side dishes, such as mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts, or mac and cheese and broccoli. But I'm excited to try it with spaghetti. I plan on serving this with a side of broccoli, and I meant to make garlic bread, but I completely forgot to make it. We have a band concert tonight with one of our sons, and we have another son who is at a track meet, and we ended up having to run out of the house to get there on time, and as good as the garlic bread would have been, I guess we really didn't eat all those carbs after all. And to be honest, I never even remembered the garlic bread until we got home later that night. And to be honest, no one else asked for it either, so it wasn't missed. Dinner was delicious even without the garlic bread. Well, dinner is coming right along, y'all. The sauce smells amazing, and the noodles are boiling away. I have just a few more batches of chicken to saute before I'm ready to top the chicken breasts with sauce and cheese before popping them in the oven to finish cooking. What's on the menu for dinner at your house tonight? And I'm curious, how many of you meal plan? If you are a meal planner, maybe you can give me some advice on how to be successful at it. I'm just so used to buying in bulk and cooking from my pantry. I just haven't figured out how to make the switch to meal planning yet. Feel free to leave your tips down in the comments. I love hearing new ideas, and y'all always give the best advice.
The chicken is just about ready. I just need to cover the chicken breasts with my homemade marinara sauce and sprinkle with mozzarella and Parmesan cheese, and then they'll finish baking in the oven for about 10 minutes. They'll be ready once they reach an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees and the cheese is melted. Once they are ready, I'll plate them up on a bed of spaghetti and more sauce with a side of broccoli.
Dinner's ready, y'all, and I can't wait to dig in. Well, y'all, we have to rush out the door to go watch our youngest son play baritone in the 8th grade band concert, but I really hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you try out the apple fritters. They were so good. My kids are already asking me to make more. And the chicken Parmesan, delicious. I can't wait to make it again. Well, y'all, thanks so much for spending the afternoon with me. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to talk to you again real soon. I hope you all have a great week. I'll see you later. Bye, y'all.